So if you are joining us on YouTube, welcome. And we're going to start on our backs using a little support under our lower back. And move this piece of furniture away. Whoosh. All right. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and mute you all so you can not worry about any background noise where you are. You can breathe deeply. And once you're there, maybe shimmy your hips just a little side to side. And like I said, with the feet on the floor, so I would just adjust, like mine is a little bit higher than I want, or a little bit lower, so I'm going to adjust so that I feel more support. And then I can feel the hips just kind of rolling away from each other. They're staying, the pelvis is staying facing up towards the ceiling along with the hip bones and the knees. And the feet, if you feel like you want to widen them a little bit or take them forward, feel free to do that. See if you can open up the arms and maybe not quite goal post or goddess pose arms. Maybe slide the elbows a little bit down and make it a soft version of goal pose. So it doesn't have to be super active. And the higher your arms are, the more action you'll feel a little in your back. So make your arms comfortable. Feel free to sway the knees a little side to side if you need to. We're going to make our way into a little stillness, regrouping and resetting the nervous system. But take any movement that you need to at first, maybe even rocking the head a little side to side. If it's more comfortable to let the knees just draw towards one another, you can also try that. If those options don't work and you want to lengthen the legs, you can certainly do that as well. With the support under your knees, you might feel a little more arched through the mid and upper backs. So just be mindful of that it's going to be comfortable on your back for 4 to 5 minutes. Take a big breath in through the nose and just let it out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose, let it out through the mouth. As many more as you need to. Imagine that it's almost like when you're using a broom and you're sweeping the sidewalk or the front porch and you just push those things aside. Let that soft brush sweep through the body, letting go of any stuck energy or negativity or tightness. And feel free to adjust as you need to. We call this relaxed wakefulness. We're not actually taking a nap. We're actually just being instead of doing, that art of being. So much of our lives we're moving and doing, and it's all good and productive. But resetting the nervous system helps us create more balance, less reaction, a little bit more calm in the midst of things that we can't control. And if it's more comfortable, you might try just taking one hand on the belly and the other hand, like one just below the belly button and one above the belly button. See how that feels on your shoulders and your elbows. It's just an option. If you're really comfortable, stay just as you are. And just noticing that breath coming in through the nose and out through the nose. It's a soft, warm breath, a cool breath in, warm breath in, cool breath out. A little more awareness to your exhalation. That idea of you were whispering ah when your exhalation leaves the body. Starts to make little micro adjustments, subtle little shifts throughout the body. Letting go of the busyness of your mind. Think of your thoughts as clouds. Just imagine that you're laying on a beach and the clouds are floating by and you're just going to let those thoughts hop on those clouds. You can pick any that you need after class up. And then we'll deepen the breath. So feel free to change the arms if you want to now. If you have them to the side and you didn't bring them to the belly, you might want to bring them to the belly now. One below belly button, the other one just above. Feel a nice deep breath in through the nose and that rise of the belly towards the palms. And then just exhale and surrender. Again, inhale, feeling that belly rise without any force, just letting it naturally rise and fall. Focusing more on the exhalation than the inhalation. The practice of surrendering, trusting that the body is letting go where you need more space. And then you can slowly slide the left hand up towards the chest or whichever hand is on top. Take a big breath in, feeling the palms almost like they're sliding away from each other as the breath moves all the way up into the chest. And then just surrender, letting go of the shoulders especially. And then as you inhale, feel that belly rise. Imagine that the breath, you're drawing the breath through the rib cage all the way into the chest. And then exhale and letting go completely. Take a few more at your own pace. Trying not to over effort. There's no finish line. Just imagine that it's more like you're just riding a wave. No effort, the wave is carrying you. The breath is carrying you. In through the nose and out through the nose. Just for 3 more breaths. As you inhale this time, count your inhalation. Belly into the belly, 1. Up into the rib cage, 2. To the chest, 3. Maybe into the throat, 4. And then relax, surrender, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, inhale for 1. Belly rises. Draw the breath up through the rib cage, 2. Into the chest, 3. Maybe the throat, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try a couple more at your own pace. Your count may be less, it might be more. Just explore. Again, no over-efforting. Just trying to make space within the body. And then slowly coming back to your natural breathing rhythm. You just let the arms float to the sides, with some space between the body. Relax the fingers and the palms. Bringing your awareness back to the breath, just riding that wave. So this is a poem by Donna Faulds. Who you are. Who you are is so much more than what you do. The essence of shining through the heart, soul, and center, the bare and bold truth of you does not lie in your to-do list. You are not just at the surface of your skin, not just the impulse to arrange the muscles of your face into a smile or a frown, not just boundless energy or bone-wearing fatigue. Delve deeper. You are divinity. The vast and open sky of spirit. You are the light, the ember at your core, the passion and the presence, the timeless, deathless essence of you that reaches out and touches me. Who you are transcends fear and turns suffering into liberation. Who you are is love. Donna Faulds. And then slowly take your left hand up to your heart and your right hand on top. Take a breath in through the nose. Just let it out through the mouth. And then just be. Adding a moment of gratitude if there's something that comes to mind at this very moment that you're grateful for. There's some extra love or some community or place that needs your bright light and love, send that out as well. start to take your arms out to the sides like a T. And then if you don't have your feet already on the floor, go ahead and bring your feet onto the floor, lift your hips up, and just take that support that you were using underneath if you had one, and lower the hips down nice and slow. Take the feet a little bit wider apart, so the feet are not on the floor if you didn't have them there. And then just let the knees roll to the sides, but really, let's say like 10% of your actual range. So your lower back, even in very subtle and restorative poses, the nerve endings and the tendons and muscles are all working vigorously and very subtly at the same time. So rushing into a pose or going to our big expression first is not always wise. So you can make the range a little bit bigger. Let your head maybe sway in the same direction as the knees. One more time, either side. Let your knees fall away from each other for a moment. Doesn't need to be a big stretch, just let them fall away and then use your inhale to bring them back in. Maybe they touch. Out one more time. And again, kind of paying attention to what's going on when you take your range. Lift the knees in towards the chest, hold on to the kneecaps, and then just circle the knees around. And as you're circling, it's not really about how much you're circling or how big or small it is. See how that feels on your lower back as you're shifting forward. The knees are coming away from you and then out to the sides and then in towards the chest. It's also a nice sensation on your hip socket. So doing it too vigorously or squeezing in too close, you're trying to find that really blissful place to be. And then circle in the other direction. So if you drew the knees in first and maybe take them to the sides, out in front of you. You can get the shoulders into this too as well. So as the knees come in, the shoulders might come up towards the ears and then start to roll them away. Try to soften through the face. Feel free to open up your mouth and move your jaw around. Maybe even stick out your tongue. Take a little lion's breath if you want to. And then take your feet onto the floor. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Take your arms to the sides, palms facing up, and then just shake your hips. It's almost like you're going to lift like the left hip up off the ground and then the right, just kind of rolling a little side to side. Let your feet sway with you. Take your feet a little bit wider towards the corners of the mat, and then take your feet in and out, in and out. And you can do it slow, or you can do it a little bit faster. Imagine that your feet are like butterfly wings or a bird's wings. They're just flapping away, slow or fast. It's up to you. Just get a little circulation there. And then you're going to move your left foot in towards the center a little bit more. Take the right knee in towards the chest. So lots of options here. Underneath the thigh you can hold, or you can take the hands and interlock them in front of the shins, drawing the knee forward and in for a little bit more stretch. And you can even hover the other leg if you want to be more dynamic. So we're going to go back and forth. So just find a comfortable place. The other option is to keep the opposite foot on the floor as opposed to the leg long. You'll notice it's a different stretch. So inhale. Take the heel down, slide it forward, take it over to the left. You can also mix it up and then slide that foot forward. Inhale, take the other leg in. Really think about your exhalation as you're exhaling, like your exhale is in your heel sliding forward. You can make the leg more dynamic and really pressing the leg away from you or point the toes. Just explore here. Just getting a little more into the hips, and you also feel this in the lower back. Good. Once you've done both sides, you can keep the legs long for a moment. Take the arms out like a T, and as you take the arms out, take the palms facing up, and then imagine that you inhale, and as you exhale, you're taking the breath to the back of the body, drawing the shoulder blades down towards, the shoulders down towards the sides. You get a little arch in the back. Maybe even puff out the chest. Breathe into the rib cage. Chin might tuck a little bit towards the chest, and then relax everything. Again, try that again. It's a little active, doesn't have to be super active, but you're giving yourself lots and lots of space through the rib cage and the chest. You can feel a lot of space between the mat and the spine, and then let go. Good. Take your right elbow underneath of the left. Give yourself a little hug here. So lots of options here. You can use your fingers. Give yourself a massage. Maybe you can get into the neck, or the back of the shoulders, sides of the arms. And then you can add a little sway back and forth. The head and the elbows go back and forth, feeling a massage in the upper back, especially on the shoulder blades. Good. You're not going to get a huge range because you have your legs long, but it should feel good. And then take your hands and hold on to opposite elbows. So your elbows will come up, you're bending, bringing your arms up in front of you, and then you're bending the elbows, holding on. And then you're going to just circle around with the elbows. So you're going to bring the elbows in front of you as you're holding on, and then just circle. Maybe they go over the top of the head a little bit, maybe not. Just a different way to get a massage in the back. If you want to inhale and curl, tucking the chin, coming up a little bit, lifting the shoulders, and then lower down, you can experiment with that as well. Let the head follow the elbows and arms. Just one more time. Don't have to lift up the head. That's just an option. And then circle in the other direction. Before you circle, real quick, lift the arms a little over the top of the head and imagine that you're pressing your feet forward so you feel a little stretch in front of the hips. And then circle the opposite direction that you were before, either keeping the head down or lifting the head up, or you can kind of mix it up. Come back around to the front, and then we'll keep going, but let's switch the arms. So just take your hands away from the elbows and switch so the other hand is holding the other elbow. It will feel a little bit different. And then circle around. We're going over towards the right or whatever your opposite was. And you can lift up or not. It's not just about the arms. The arms are like just circling like in air, but you feel a little bit in your hips, definitely in your upper back. Open up the arms, reach them out to the sides like a T. Take a big breath in through the nose. The feet are relaxed, rolling out away from each other. Exhaling through the mouth. And then this time you're going to bring the left elbow underneath the right. Let your arms fall where they would naturally. Try not to squeeze so that you can't breathe. Slide the hands down as you need to. And then start maybe your massage. Re-massage. Get into the back, neck, whatever feels comfortable. And maybe eventually either stick with that massage and skip the roll, or just take a few more rolls side to side. And then we'll take just a few of the elbows circling, holding on, and then just circling. So maybe if you lifted your head last time, maybe this time you just keep it slow. Maybe you take wider circles. Kind of reach a little bit more because now you have a little bit more range. Perhaps a little more opening through the back and the shoulders. Nice. And then keep the elbows where they are. Slide your feet in so that the feet are on the floor. And maybe take them just a little bit wider than hip width apart. Lift up your hips. And then just swing your hips a little to the right, a little to the left. So basically you're just you're being held, supported by your upper back, a little bit into the mid-back and the shoulders. And then bring the hips back to the center. Pull them towards the heels slightly. Lower the back down. Shimmy a little bit on the spine like you're sliding the back of the head. And you're doing little pelvic tilts. And then come back to that neutral spine. And take an inhale and an exhale. Take your feet a little bit wider towards the outer edges of the mat. And then draw your right knee towards the right. Then let your left follow. Take that right elbow over towards the side, the right side. Inhale, come back to the center. Take it to the other side. So the left elbow, the left knee start to roll to the left. Let that right knee drop and follow. Come back to the center. Just try that with elbow and knees all the same direction, along with the head, and then we'll switch and go opposite in a second. Inhale through the center, exhale. And you can Feel free to roll over as far as you want to. And one more time each side. Come back to the center, switch your arms, so you're gonna let go of the hands, switch them so they're holding onto the other elbow. If you really let your shoulders relax, then you shouldn't feel any pain in your shoulders or a lot of big effort there. And then this time you're gonna let the right knee fall to the right as you take the left elbow to the opposite side. Inhale through the center, bringing the knees up, and then left falls to the left, right knee starts to follow as the right elbow goes to the right. So this is a whole different sensation. Take it gently, try not to pull or tug. I love this saying by Judith Laster. She says, create opportunity, not pressure. Or don't create pressure, create opportunity. You get to choose. The opportunity to unwind the knots in our brain and our body without creating a lot of pressure. And open up the arms. Take a big breath in through the nose as you slide the legs forward so now they're wide. Take a few little snow angels here. So you're going to slide your arms up over the top of the head and the feet come together. It's almost like you can take a big stretch here if you want to. And then as you exhale, bring the arms down to the side. So open up into that angel. Stay there for a moment. And then we're going to inhale. Draw the knees in. And exhale when you get to the top. Good. Inhale here. Maybe exhale and open. If you want to go opposite with your breath, that's fine. Just breathe however it feels comfortable. Might feel comfortable. Breathe in as you rise the arms up and the feet come together, or as you open up. Either way. Just notice your natural breathing rhythm. And be really grateful that we're not actually doing this in the snow, even though it's hot outside. And then just bend your elbows, bring them down to the sides. And then one last thing, you're going to imagine that you're in Tadasana Pose on the ground. So flex into your feet. Maybe you even feel the heels come off the ground, your calves are pressing down. Take your fingers to the sides, put space between the body, spread your fingers out, lift your chin, tuck it slightly, and then lengthen the back of the head. Good. You can leave the arms and the pinkies down, or you can hover them either way. And imagine you're in Tadasana Pose. You're standing, right? And you're strong. It's a pretty active Tadasana. This would be a little more active than we would be when we were standing. But we are not standing. Imagine your sacrum is really connected with the earth, and then just let everything go and relax. Yes. Good. Bring the knees in one more time towards the chest. If you want to spinal roll forward and back or roll a little side to side, feel free to do that. Good. And then you're going to roll over. And if you have a block, feel free to use a block. I'll let you we'll do a hip opener real quick before we come up. But if you have a block handy or a couple books, you're just going to use that and put it right underneath your left foot. Right, if your right foot is on the floor. And this is like the number 4 pose. So you can do it lots of different ways. If you don't have a block or you're not interested in bringing the ground up, that's fine too. It's early though. I thought we would just take that right foot up and then float either the side of the foot onto the thigh, and or you can keep going and take the ankle to the outside of the left thigh, and then flex a little into that right foot. Usually changes the sensation. Use your left hand on the thigh, just holding that left thigh. It's kind of like a little kickstand. And if you feel like your knee is coming in and you're like, I probably could guide it a little gently away, feel free to do that. And not to push on the knee, just below the knee and on the thigh. If you really want to get a little deeper into your hips and you think that you're warmed up enough, you can kick the block away. You can hold here and give a little bit more action to that right thigh. If you have tight hips today, and your lower back is not happy, or you're in gentle yoga and you're like, yeah, how about some gentle yoga here? Then you use the block. Maybe even take the side of the foot here and just take a gentle, easy opening of the hips. Relax the face. You want to do something with the arms, you can hold the arms holding onto opposite elbows. Feel a little more through the chest. Excuse me, up to you. Take one deep breath in through the nose. Let it out through the mouth. And then just notice, pay attention to any sensations. Take one more breath in. Exhale out. And then slowly let the knee come in towards the chest a little bit. And you can use your fingers to bring it in towards the midline. If you do have your block and you have your foot on the side of the left thigh, it's actually kind of a nice stretch on the right hip flexor. I actually feel more doing it this way than I did with my knee out. And then open up that leg and set it down. Pick up that left leg, straighten it up towards the ceiling. Keep a big bend in the knee if you need to, and then just point and flex. Try to see if you can bring some ease to your face, and to your back, and to your shoulders. Usually, sometimes when the feet goes away and we start doing something active, it's like we're sort of like tensed up all about where the action's happening. So keep the softness in the other places. Okay. Bend the knee a lot and do yourself a massage up and down, using your finger pads to create some circulation. So it's kind of vigorous. Some people even use their fists. And then now try to do that same thing where you're pointing and you're flexing. Yeah, it's a little bit easier once you've given yourself a little massage. And then rotate your toes out towards the side as you're flexing into your heel. If they're externally rotating, toes are out towards the side. And then come back into the center, rotate your heel. Is pushing up towards the ceiling, you're just rotating the toes internally. And then slowly lower that down. Good. And then take the right leg up, point and flex. And we're going to massage and you're going to get to do it again. So this time maybe be a little bit easier on your leg. Good. And then you can bring your fingertips, really give yourself a nice massage here. Warmth of that circulation, and with the leg in the air, circulation has different flow, create a little bit more energetic sensation. And now flex, point, flex, and point again, checking those shoulders usually come creeping up and go. Feel the rib cage, maybe letting it sink down towards the mat, back of your rib cage towards the mat. Good. And then bring that foot down. And I didn't forget about the other side. If you do use a block, maybe you take the block in between your feet and you set it over towards the right. Place your right foot on the block or onto your hooks or not. Lift the left leg up. This side might be a little bit happier because we did a little stretching first. And then you can take that ankle all the way over so it's not digging into the thigh. Flex into the left foot. Or just take the side of the foot. So there's a little less range when you have just the side of the foot here. You're not taking the leg over as far. So I do this many times more than I do the other because I like other hip stretches. So I'm not overdo it. So your choice. Use your left hand. And you can kind of give some massage to the left thigh. You can even use your hand and it's a gentle, it's almost like a kickstand. It's not necessarily a big push away. It's kind of exploration. And if you want to take the block away, keep your foot on the floor, be more energetic, you certainly can. See where you can find some ease. Maybe even rocking a little side to side to explore. Take a big breath in through the nose. Use your exhalation to create a little ah somewhere. Maybe it's the busyness of your mind. And bring your attention to where you're feeling this pose. One more nice deep breath in. Let it go through the mouth. And then slowly start to bring the knee in towards the center. It's coming down towards your chest and just a little and towards the center. And then notice, maybe you feel nothing. Maybe it's awkward on the knee and not helpful. So just undo it. Take the leg up. Relax that leg down. Take the foot. Take your block away. Open up the legs. Open up the arms into a Y shape. So think of like starfish pose. Open up the legs as wide as you'd like to. Lift up the right hip. Imagine that you're taking that hip bone and you're just moving it up towards the left. And then let it go. Lift the other side up. Is it as easy? Is it different? Is it the same? All right, one more time. Just pressing forward with the hips. There's a little bit of space underneath your glutes. And then down. And then start to slide the hands down. Feel free to pull the knees in towards the chest or just feet on the floor. Lift the hips, take them over to the right, and then roll yourself up to your hands and your knees. And once you're on your hands and your knees, I just want to check the time. Come on over into your neutral table and then just bump the hips a little side to side. Imagine that you're stirring a pot, maybe. Walk the hands a little bit forward so you can get a little bit more range. And you can bump the hips to the right. You can drop the hips when you come forward. And then that sometimes feels really nice. But your arms are at an angle here, so they're not right underneath of your wrists. We move very quickly from neutral table to hip swirls, so I apologize for that. And again, you can make them small. Pay attention to how it feels on your hips, side body. It's a really nice, organic, creative movement. It's your own expression. You can make sure your toes don't come towards each other. Maybe keep the feet directly behind the knees, but you can open up the knees wider, need more range. And then let's take it in the other direction. So if you started by bumping the hips to the right, bump the hips to the left. Circling around, you can explore. You can even take the hips way back towards the heels. Good. And then when you come back to the center, take an inhalation, exhalation. Go ahead and take your forearms down to the ground. Keep your hips high here into your puppy pose, and then start to walk the elbows and fingers a little bit closer to get a stretch through the arms. And then you can either set the forehead down. Maybe you need a block or a blanket or towel. Nice to have a little support there. And just relax. More dynamic. You have the arms getting a really big stretch through the back. But it's also big on the shoulders, so be mindful of that. You want to move into extended child's pose. If you're really needing some more stretching into the hips, then bring the soles of the feet together, knees go out to the sides, start to glide the hips back, and get a stretch through the hips as well. It's really nice to use a support in the extended side if you're needing the hips, but it's a lot on the front of the thighs or the knees, then take a support there so that you can maybe sink into it with a little more bliss. If you're in puppy pose, go ahead, if you haven't already, slide your elbows a little closer, take the pressure off of the wrists, and then just pulse a little forward and back. And then start to curl your toes, and then without shifting back, just press into the toes a little bit. If you're in extended child's pose, you can join us. And then walk onto your fingertips. Stay with the curl in the toes. Bring your knees a little bit closer together. Come all the way up onto the knees. And then just start to feel, for some people, barely doing this is like a lot. And sometimes it's even better to go to the top of the foot and curl the toes on one side and then relax that foot and curl the other side. So feel free to do that. All of our feet are different. So just do this instead of keeping both curled. If you're okay with both curled, think about bring your hands to the front of your hips, and then just imagine that you're pressing a little bit into those fingers so that you're lengthening more through the thighs. Take the hands to the sides, feel a little lift like you have a string on your sternum up towards the ceiling. A little lift in the chin, and then you can start to keeping yourself in this nice lengthening shape. You can start to sway back slightly. It's a lot on the quadriceps here, and you can also use a support underneath of your knees. So I typically would do that, but I'm actually on carpet and a cushy mat, so I didn't use them, but it's a very nice option. Good. And then just pulsing back and forth a few times. It's a lot about the front of the thighs here, but also here, feeling your hip. It's like you feel the skin going to the sides when you push forward without lifting into your chest and pushing your chest forward. Keep the chest lifted towards the sky. And then we're going to try one more thing wherever you are. If you have the tops of the feet, that's fine. Relax the toes. You can stay here. Just take your fingers to the tip of your ears. Not behind your head, just to the ears. Or keep the curl in the toes, either way. Take a big breath in. Feel like, there's this suction cup here pulling you up towards the ceiling so that you have length in the back of the neck, length in the lower back, mid back, upper back. And then see if you can glide yourself into a little bit more of a heart opener, pressing the hips a little forward, you're lifting the chest. If you feel this in your lower back, then don't go back so far, okay? Because that means that you have to keep practicing lifting those back muscles to sustain you and lifting and lengthening them as opposed to just reaching back and pushing out. Then your lower back takes all the pressure. And then just relax those fingertips down. All right, bring your left foot forward. And if you have two blocks, that's great. At home, that's nice to bring the ground up. And if you want that support under your knee, do that. Otherwise, fingers to either side. And then just glide back and forth. I don't know a lot about the hips today. I didn't realize that. So you're just gliding back and forth. You can do this by coming up, creating a little bit more balance, just shifting a little back and forth. So you're getting a little stretch in the front of the thigh. On the right side, I'm going to switch so you can see me. Keep your knee right over the ankle and the heel. And then just, so maybe for you, you're feeling like, I like this, I'm getting more out of this front stretch, not this left or this other side. Or maybe you're like, I really need to kind of be a little bit deeper in front of the thigh and the psoas. So just explore there. Just 3 more times. Keeping that chest lifted. Try not to let everything go in your upper torso. And then bring those fingers down. Slide that leg back. Take it to the other side. Take your time. And then keeping the fingers down. It's almost like a hip hinge. You don't have to get big and deep into the front thigh or into the hamstring, or you can, either way, if you want to play around with the balance part. You can do lots of things, taking your arms to the sides, and that gliding motion. And then last time, you're going to curl the back toes. And you're going to press into the back foot and then just start to round your back slightly, sliding that right foot close. Really big bend into the knees. The belly is on the thighs. And then come up using your hands and your breath to bring you up to standing. So Wednesdays, in case this is the first time you've been here in a while, typically on, check the time, typically on Mondays it's like super gentle, but on Wednesdays I try to give you a little more strength and movement. So that's where we are. Come to just a standing pose and taking your feet a little side to side. I'm going to shift my screen so you can see more of me, just in case. And so just swaying, shifting the weight, almost like you're practicing a little balance. Get rid of this one. There we go. Full screen. All right. And then take your hands to your hips. Kind of just let your hips go a little side to side. Take some circles. Bend to the knees. And it's up to you. You might want to just keep them really light. Or you might want to get more into the back. So sometimes when I'm holding on to my hips, and if I'm taking a bigger range, I'm actually pushing my fingers down as I go back. And the skin is like moving back as I'm leaning forward. So let's get a little bit more stretch there. So just an option, circle the other direction. And then shift so that you are now shifting the weight, like you might even lift the foot for a moment. Make sure you're rising up the crown of the head and you're grounded through whichever foot if you decide to shift the weight and hover. Right, so you need your whole body connected for that balance. You can bend into the knee and get a little bit more momentum. If you want to add the arms, you're welcome to do that. They can be on your shoulders, they can be on your hips. You can take them up. Practice that starfish pose. Kind of easier, I think, to get a little momentum. Shift and reach. To you, your arms aren't feeling it today. Them wherever you would like. Good. Feel free to hang, flying in the air. Oh, kind of scared. This is going to be on YouTube later. People will be like, what is that person doing? All right, and then come back to the center, pedal out your feet a little bit. Good, and then we'll take another little balance pose. Oh, I don't know why I thought it's Wednesday. You have to balance on Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. All right, so shift onto your toes and then back to your heels. You might want to bend your knees and play around with it that way. Just try that a few times. Good, pedal out your feet. And then reach with your right arm. Imagine that, like if you could reach for the clouds, you would just, which one would you pick? Your fingers, relax. Just, it's really, you're sneakily getting stretch on your obliques and your side body. Good. One more time each side. Nice. All right, and then if you feel free to use, if you have a piece of furniture or something and you're feeling like you want some support, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we're going to just shift the weight onto your left foot. But take a moment to close your eyes, come to your Tadasana pose, really feel like you're grounding through the feet, and then you're reaching up as though you could actually lift the flesh and just pull it up, and then lengthen through the side body. Shoulders are broad but relaxed. Front of the head is rising up. And then you can open up your eyes, shift the weight onto the left heel, all the way up into the mound of the big toe, out to the little toe, and then bend into the knee, and see if you can just let that foot hang, that right foot just gently hang. You want to keep drawing it up, just draw it only as high as your hip. You want to change up the arms, free to do that. So for now, keeping your hands on your hips might be a good idea. You're going to bend a little into that left knee, and you're going to stay here and practice either bending a little into that knee and then lifting up, keeping this leg, the foot is relaxed, the knee's either in line with the hip. It's actually a little bit harder if you hover it low to the ground because then you have the heaviness of the leg. Or you can start to bend like you're hip hinging, keeping the knee bent, and then bringing it forward. Use your breath, lengthening, using the strength of that foot, drawing it all the way up through the leg, bending, and then just try not to round to curl. Keep that length. You're just hinging from the hips. Hinging from the hips. Kind of like what we were doing on the ground, where you were just bending and straightening, but you're balancing at the same time. Tricky, tricky. Good. And then see if you can stay for 3 more breaths. If you want, you can bring the knee in towards the chest. Hold it. Nice. And then slowly let that leg come down. Pedal out the feet, or some people like to bend the knees and circle the knees around the hips. Let's do something in transition, and then we'll play around. And if you're on carpet at home, I know for me, like I'm on carpet and it makes it a whole different thing. Also, if you're practicing outside and you balance and you look up at the sky, whole different ball game. So it's kind of fun actually, because it keeps us on our toes. All right, so shift to the right side. Take a breath in, exhale out. Notice the difference. Maybe you feel a little bit more fired up on that left side or not. Shift your weight into the right foot and then lift the energy up through the leg. You're rooting down as you're rising up through the crown of the head. Use your whole body and then just play around there. The balance is different every day. It depends on your sleep, how much sleep you got, how much coffee you've had, how your heart is feeling. You're a whole different person every single day. There's so many subtle little changes playing around with your balance. It might even be keeping the toes on the ground and just lifting them up. You want to continue. Another option, these are just options. You get to pick which stop you get off on. Bend the knee towards in line with the hip. Lift the chest. Maybe even think of a string holding you up. Breathing. Don't hold your breath. Maybe even pulling into the belly a little bit to tap into your core. If you want to hip hinge, feel free to play with that, bending a little into that right knee, hinging back and forth. If you're rolling around, your ankle is feeling like it's wiggling and wobbling, you're just creating strength, that's okay, or take a break. Fine. And then lift through the shoulders. Inhale and exhale. If you brought the leg in, you can try it again on this side, on the other side. And then slowly come down. I actually haven't practiced balance in a while, so that was so fun. And then just let your knees, your hips circle around, sort of swivel yourself all the way back up. Take a starfish pose. Big breath in, widen through the feet, toes face, maybe out slightly. Arms are up, fingers are spread. Big breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. One more. Inhale. And as you exhale, bend the knees and just let your arms float. Good. And then toe and heel your feet together. Just bring the feet in towards one another. Take an inhale, hip hinge, bend a lot at the knees. And you're going to come back down to the ground. And why don't you come onto... So for some reason, there we go. All right, so go ahead and come back down onto your back and keep your feet onto the floor. We'll take a bridge pose. If you have something else that you're dying to do, we have about 7 minutes left, so feel free to, once you come to your back, if you really wanted to do happy baby or you really wanted to put the block underneath and let your hips relax, something in your practice that you're used to doing, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we're just going to move into a little bridge pose. So bringing your heels in, knees up towards the ceiling, hands are to the side. Shake your head a little side to side. Open up your mouth and move around into the face. Take a big breath into the belly, rib cage, chest, and then let it go. And then press into the feet. And options are just lift your hips up enough so that they're off the ground. Feel the support of the back of your arms, your shoulder blades, and broaden through the shoulders. Not a lot of effort into the front of the thighs, not super active. Or, if you want a little bit more active, keep rising up. Think about squeezing the inner thighs and the knees towards each other as you lift. Lengthen through the back of the head, even slide the back of the head towards the back of the mat. Top of the mat, and then slowly coming down and gently make a little imprint with your sacrum. Relax. Inhale, press to the feet. Inhale. Exhale wherever comfortable for you. And really think about sliding a little the back of the head towards the top of your mat and broadening through the shoulders. More space through the collarbone, squeezing the inner thighs a little towards each other. Good, and then slowly coming down. If you have osteoporosis or osteoarthritis or any other spinal challenges, it's better to use your flat back than it is to articulate. So just a little info there. And then slowly release down. And then we'll all meet in bringing the knees in towards the chest. Kind of nice to take them out towards the side body instead of in towards the front. And then maybe take a circle around, wide circle in towards the chest, rolling open wide, loading the feet up towards the ceiling, flex into the feet, and then you're holding behind the thigh, rocking a little side to side. Be really aware of where you're feeling this as you rock. If the knees are too close in, sometimes people really want to reach for the feet, but then see how round my spine is, and I'm really rolling on like my mid-back. It's super awkward and painful. So I would keep my hands lower so I can really get into that space that feels that nice massage. Eventually, you practice enough, you can then get your hands a little bit lower without creating more strain on your spine. And then floating the feet down nice and slow. Bring yourself along onto the mat and then just land there. Don't worry about your shape where your arms are. Just land there gently. And check back in. Yoga is this meditative practice, and people leave and they say, there was the last class that I taught in February. This gentleman who was new to yoga, he looked like a football player. He was just this big guy, muscular, and he was like a teddy bear. He came up after class and said, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to keep doing this yoga thing because I feel so good when I leave. And I was like, that's so awesome. And I was like thinking, yes, it's this meditative practice that is really profound, and you can't figure it out. If people want to figure it out, what exactly is it that I did? But when we let go of that, we just realize that we show up as we are, we move and breathe, and then we leave feeling better. So take the last few minutes for your Shavasana. Sorry that I talked so long. Shavasana is also a balance pose. So let yourself just have the ability to land softly. Use the support that's under you and around you. Feel free to shut your computer or stay longer. Just enjoy the last few moments or minutes for your body, mind, and spirit. And I will bring you out gently soon. slowly just bring your awareness back outside of your body by just keeping your eyes closed, maybe just rolling the head a little side to side. Taking a soft breath in through the nose and letting it out through the mouth. Wiggling your fingers and toes. Maybe taking the arms up over the top of the head and giving yourself a stretch. Or just drawing the knees towards the chest and begin to roll over onto one side. Remember, the yoga is also in the transitions. Being present and gentle with yourself. And once you're on your side, just take a moment. Again, you can bring your left hand to your heart and right hand on top or not. Just take a moment to reflect on something that you're grateful for at this very moment. And slowly making your way up to a comfortable seat, but take your time, no rush. And then we'll all put your down so I can see you. And then we'll all take the arms up over the top of the head. Let your palms touch, and then just gently bring the thumbs to the sternum. Tip your chin slightly, just acknowledging your heart space. Feel the connection of the palms together. Take a breath in through the nose and let it out through the mouth. And then we'll take one Om to seal and celebrate, practicing as a community. So feel free to join in or just listen. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And inhale to Om. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with each and every one of us. And let the light that shines within you shine brightly today and every day. Namaste. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'm going to